150 years later, the foundation of innovation that his patents build continues to revolutionize how we speak to one another today. And for all of you with smartphones out there, how we live and how we communicate with one another. It was innovations such as these that built our nation. The founders recognized that innovation was essential to America when they provided for an intellectual property system in our Constitution. Throughout this year, the USPTO will be hosting a series of events and activities to mark how innovation has shaped our 250 years of history. You can learn more about our upcoming USPTO events by visiting us on the web at uspto.gov/freedom250. Now I'd like to recognize some of the people who have made today possible. First, the White House Task Force on Freedom 250. They have an incredible selection of events that are going on for the American public throughout the year, and I encourage you to visit their website at freedom250.org. Secondly, I'd like to recognize the Department of Commerce's Freedom 250 Committee, who has also helped make today possible. And thirdly, the leadership here at the USPTO, including Director John Squires and Deputy Director Cook Morgan Stewart. And I would be remiss if I did not mention the nearly 12 USPTO employees, including our own Elizabeth Doherty, who started the program, who serve on our Freedom 250 Committee here today to help make events such as today possible. We look forward to celebrating all year long with all of you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce John Squires, the Undersecretary of Commerce for Intellectual Property and the 60th Director of the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Director Squires has a long and distinguished history working the field of intellectual property. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry from Bucknell University, and he also received the prestigious University Prize in English. While at Bucknell, Director Squires played Division I football, and in fact, his college football helmet currently sits on his desk here at the USPTO. He then worked for IBM, one of the largest U.S. patent holders and one of the largest holders of patents in the entire world. He then attended and received his law degree from the University of Pittsburgh School of Law, where he was an articles editor of the Law Review, and he graduated magna cum laude. Director Squires has worked at U.S. law firms and was formerly the chief IP counsel at investment bank Goldman Sachs. He is recognized as an expert in legal issues and emerging technologies, from AI, blockchain, and fintech, to cybersecurity and risk. Importantly, he has helped small businesses and startups bring their innovations to market. The United States is fortunate to have someone with such a deep understanding of IP technology serving in such an important position and at such a critical time. Director Squires, thank you for deciding to enter public service, and we know that you'll make a big difference in millions of people's lives. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Jason, for your kind introduction. I'm honored and humbled to be here and share today with our stakeholders, our sponsors, honored guests, web viewers, and even descendants of the great Alexander Graham Bell himself, as we celebrate one of the true giants, one of the greatest inventors and patent holders in history. Since our nation's very inception, innovation has been one of the fiercest drivers of cultural heritage, as the irresistible force of American ingenuity inexorably pushes and pushes back on the frontiers of science, technology, and knowledge. A manifest destiny fueled by the fires of genius, as integral to our American identity and our prosperity as freedom itself. The spirit of innovation is the spirit of America, and nowhere is it more evident than at the USPTO, America's Innovation Agency. We're here today, of course, because of Mr. Bell's world-changing inspiration and perspiration resulting in the invention of the telephone and resulting in his U.S. patent, which transformed the world of telecommunications. In 1876, almost exactly 150 years to the day today, he made his first phone call from another room to his assistant. And with just 9 words, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you." Mr. Bell's simple, vocal request made history as the first words ever spoken by humans from another room to his assistant.
Utterly,
And with just
remarkable.
9 words, flash
Mr.
forward
Watson.
to the future. What no one could have predicted then, how the world would change now, that distance was no longer a barrier to language. Time was compressed, and what his modest yet profound oral quest would evolve into today, including the ubiquitous wireless device society could not function without, over 8 billion of them, the smartphone. Now, smartphones, of course, are portable mini computers, and yes, they are 150 years removed from Mr. Bell's invention, but these mini computers still serve the rudimentary function of transmitting speech. You see, invention is like a chain reaction. It's a butterfly effect. One person's inspiration will spur another's curiosity, and then further innovation, and then more curiosity, and so on. And that's the beauty of both our system and our agency. Disclosure or exclusivity. Make the patent bargain, and society advances. Alexander Graham Bell understood this. He lived it. He embodied it. And seized with the muse of innovation, went on to successfully invent additional societal marvels like the graphophone, an improved version of the phonograph that could record and play back sound, an enhanced version of Edison's 1877 phonograph. Mr. Bell was a remarkable man and a remarkable American. Becoming a naturalized citizen in 1882, in total, he came to hold 30 patents. And only a few years later, after that first phone call, Mr. Bell made the first transcontinental phone call, again to Watson, from New York City to San Francisco. Distance conquered, time tamed, history made. Remarkable. Also, the effect that his U.S. patent had in launching an industry that dominated the world. You see, America's founders did something extraordinary, something that no other country did before. They enshrined protection for inventions directly into the text of our nation's charter, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8. The USPTO is one of the oldest missions in our federal government. Before there was a Treasury Department, before there was a Department of State, before there were most of the institutions we now take for granted, there was a foundational commitment to invention. In 1790, President George Washington signed the first U.S. patent. Thomas Jefferson served as our first patent examiner. From the birth of the Republic, innovation has been central, part and parcel of the American experiment itself. And Alexander Graham Bell knew this. And because he knew this, he raced to patent protect the fruits of his experiments. And armed with his patent, he had the full faith and credit of the U.S. government backing his invention, attracted investment, built the necessary infrastructure, and gave birth to the telecommunications industry as we now know it. And in no small part, that's why we lovingly refer to the company he founded as Ma Bell. And Ma Bell's patents were most certainly born strong. How strong? Well, you don't have to take my word for it. You see, the competition at the time of Bell's invention was fierce. Many scientists were experimenting with voice signals over wire to improve upon the works of Samuel Morse. One such scientist was Ericsson founder Lars Magnus Ericsson, who couldn't break into the market as a second comer because of Bell's patent. And he famously wrote a letter to his wife and business partner Hilda in 1885 about his frustration. He wrote, "However, the telephone area is not what we at home so eagerly expect, but mostly rather poorly, probably due to the fact that the patent conditions have made all competition impossible. Everything with the name Bell branches off the same tree, and therefore all with common interest and purpose to control the telephone systems worldwide." Amazing. Ericsson's letter from 140 years ago demonstrates the power of born strong patents, the foresight of our nation's founders, and the genius not only of Bell's invention, but availing himself of the world's sturdiest backing to protect it. Now, flash forward to today, and you can still see the power of his invention and the global infrastructure he launched. Back to today's smartphones. And with the advent of it, again, 8 billion of them, many predicted a death knell for the landline. They'd be wrong. Rumors of the landline's demise appear to have been greatly exaggerated. To this day, there are still over 800 million landlines around the world. There's no escaping the richness of the modern world we live in due to Mr. Bell's curiosity, fascination, and perseverance with sound. And his patent made that a reality. Flash again to the future. And oddly enough, as we all have a love love-hate relationship with our smartphones. It's okay. You can admit it. I have. But the hate part being that we think of them as distractions. Flashback again 150 years ago. Mr. Bell also considered his early version to be a distraction and refused to even have a telephone in his study for fear that it would distract his scientific work. Now that got me thinking. Distraction then, distraction now. We talked about the butterfly chain reaction effect of innovation. Well, what if there had been no Alexander Graham Bell invention? No patent to secure it. Suppose Marty McFly dialed Doc Brown's DeLorean circa 1944 and prevented Alexander Melville Bell and Eliza Grace Simmons from falling in love. No Alexander Graham, no telephone. Could we even imagine, and we want to, a world without the telephone and the telephone patent? It's almost impossible. No invention and no patent disclosure ever to see the idea into public consciousness or to protect his idea. And if we're able to get our heads around that, no Bell, no telephone, we're in a 2026 that's profoundly stunted in connectivity. You're probably not watching me right now on the web for starters. Without his 1876 spark of genius and the patent exclusivity around it, our world diverges wildly. Communications tech might have stalled right then and there and had enhanced telegraphs with Morse code evolutions or pivoted to radio, broadcasting for one-way mass media. But no bidirectional voice lines means no fundamental infrastructure for data piggybacking, packet switching, synchronous or asynchronous communications, or any of that stripe. And what about the butterfly effect of null set? No telephone poles wiring up cities, no Bell system, no Bell Labs driving R&D, no AT&T birthing innovations like transistors or Unix. Society evolves around slower interactions, letters, in-person meetings, visual signals, all at the expense of immediacy and prosperity. Okay, forget the left brain loss. What about the right brain? No, it's good to hear your voice. No, mom and dad, the baby boy, the baby girl. Imagine that. No, I'm coming home. No singing happy birthday over long distance. Speaking of singing, what would become of the music industry? Well, let's go there. With no static key connections, crooners and songwriters are supposed to what? Write odes to smoke signals or carrier pigeons? No Garth Brooks singing operator, you got to put me on through, I got to send my love to Baton Rouge. No Jim Croce operator, that's not the way it feels. No Call Me from Blondie. No Hello, It's Me by Todd Rundgren. No Glenn Miller Orchestra, Pennsylvania 65000, which was the famous New York Hotel's phone number. No Tommy Two-Tone, Jenny 8675309. Well, maybe that's okay. No Electric Light Orchestra, telephone line. No Ma Bell. Clearly Jeff Lynne had a thing for phones. No You Had Me at Hello. No Adele, super ballad Hello. No Big Bopper, Hello Baby. No Stevie Wonder, I Just Called to Say I Love You. No thanks. I'll be back to the future right here, right now in 2026. Thank you very much, where we'll celebrate 150 years of a marvel and a man without whose brilliance we wouldn't have such enriched lives. And celebrate we shall. Our event today is the first but exciting number of programs and activities we have planned at America's Innovation Agency, which I welcome you to. And of course, convening here for the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and remarkably, and how fittingly, Bell received his patent the same year the United States celebrate its 100th birthday in the summer of 1876. And Jason, I think I'm on solid ground on this one. That's a centennial. In that year, he famously introduced his new invention before a crowd at the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia. Since his first spoken words, the telephone has emerged as a ubiquitous form of communication in our daily lives and our most important and cherished moments. He literally forever changed the world. And now I'll turn over the unveiling of our card of Alexander Graham Bell. And first, I'd like to thank the following individuals for making this card possible. Joyce Ward, Roberto Ortiz, Pierre Georges, Paul Elke. The Inventor Collectible Trading Card Series started in 2012 and is a collection of cards featuring inventors and their notable inventions used to inspire future innovators. This card will be a part of our celebration of America's 250th birthday collection. So I'm thrilled to honor one of the greatest inventors of all time, Alexander Graham Bell, by unveiling his inventor collectible trading card today.
Thank you for those thoughtful remarks and for helping to set the stage for today's celebration. To deepen our understanding of the moment we commemorate, we will now hear from Dr. W. Bernard Carlson, Professor Emeritus of Humanities, Professor Emeritus of Engineering and Society with the University of Virginia. Dr. Carlson has devoted his career to exploring how transformative inventions come to life and how they reshape the world around us. Please enjoy this special video message.
Good afternoon. I would like to welcome you to a special celebration of Alexander Graham Bell and the invention of the telephone 150 years ago. My name is Bernie Carlson. I'm a retired professor from the University of Virginia, and I now live in County Galway, Ireland. As a historian, I've studied the method and style of inventors, and one of my favorite inventors has always been Alexander Graham Bell. Consequently, you won't be surprised that about 10 months ago, I suggested to Elizabeth Doherty that the USPTO should celebrate one of the most famous patents in American history, Bell's patent for the telephone. Elizabeth eagerly embraced that idea, and together we went to work with a wonderful team who have created the panels, the exhibit, the reception, even a Bell trading card that you will enjoy today. For Bell, the first week of March 1876 was truly momentous. March 3rd was his 29th birthday. On the 7th, his patent for the telephone was issued. And on the 10th, Bell spoke those words, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you." And they were transmitted electrically to Watson in the next room. To reflect on that memorable week, I want to spend a few moments talking about the man, the patent, and that moment of invention. About the man. In the 1990s, when my colleague Michael Gorman and I were studying Bell's inventive style, we were struck by a notebook entry from the early 1870s, one where Bell took stock of his talents. Realizing that he didn't have the hands-on skill to build electrical devices, Bell declared that he would be a theoretical inventor, working out ideas in his mind, first for sending several telegraph messages simultaneously, and then transmitting the voice over a wire. Bell's great ability as an inventor is to roll around an idea in his mind and edit it and work on it till he had a perfect vision. And what was that vision? Well, it's what he submitted for the patent that issued on March 7th. Rather than just describe a telephone, Bell used the patent to outline the underlying concept, the idea that sound waves of the voice could be converted into an electric current wave that could be sent from a transmitter to a receiver. In doing so, Bell laid out what we call analog communications, meaning a system where information is transported from one place to another by creating a representation that serves as an analog of the message. In the case of Bell's telephone, the sound waves of the voice, the message, were converted into an electric current wave, the analog, that could be sent over a wire. Now, while we live in a age of digital communications, that is converting messages into ones and zeros, it's important to realize that analog communications is the revolutionary idea behind the phonograph, radio, television, and other everyday technologies. Bell had the vision for one of the two fundamental techniques we use to communicate. But while Bell articulated a bold vision for his patent, he knew during that week he had to reduce the idea to practice. He had to demonstrate a working device. So Bell and Watson rolled up their sleeves and got to work. Even though Bell envisioned a transmitter that worked like the human ear, he chose a different path that week, to use a liquid transmitter based on one of his earlier patents. However, to make that liquid transmitter work required careful effort. To convert the waves of the voice into an electric current wave, the needle on the membrane vibrated by the voice. That needle had to barely touch the surface of the liquid. Success came on the 10th of March. From the right mixture of Bell's ability to imagine how the device was working, and Watson's help in adjusting it. So this afternoon, we celebrate the man, the patent, and the moment of invention. But we should also be thinking about the future of communications. Indeed, Bell himself would want us to do so, since he was eager to see how his telephone would change the world. On the evening of the 10th of March, after he had succeeded in transmitting speech, Bell wrote his father, predicting, and I quote, that the day is coming when telegraph wires will be laid onto houses just like water or gas, and friends will converse with each other without leaving home. Thank you for joining us today. Please enjoy the exhibits and the discussions coming up next.
We're very grateful to Dr. Carlson for his fascinating historical perspective. I hope he's going to be able to join us online from Ireland to appreciate all that those who are here joining in today's celebration. As we reflect on Bell's original breakthrough, it is remarkable to consider how that single invention grew into the vast communication system we rely on today. And our first discussion explores that journey. From Bell to Broadband is our first panel discussion today, and we'll examine how telecommunications evolved from a single patented device into a global infrastructure connecting billions of people. Our discussion will be moderated by Jill Gostin, the President-elect of IEEE. So please join me in welcoming our moderator and our distinguished panelists.